All right, everyone, welcome, and we are about to get going here we're up to episode 6 of the community live show. So come on in and join us here. And unfortunately, this week we only have myself but making up for everything is Ludgate on the other side there. No Cozy or any of the other Titans this week. It's just been one of those weeks, and not everyone could make it in. So this is who you get this week, but we got plenty to discuss because this week's pretty much been all about the Stones, right, Lud?
Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of dominating everything. There's been a few other small things, but that's definitely the big news.
Yeah, so we've got plenty to talk about just on that one, and also we got a lot of events going on. So I guess besides the biggest news of the week, it's really nice to have a whole bunch of events running concurrently again.
Definitely. And as we were talking just when we were getting ready, they're all different types of events, which kind of keeps it interesting and keeps things different.
Yeah, so obviously we've got the Stones event, which is completely new for everybody, including beta players, because I believe that's completely different. And while we're here, let's just say a quick hello. Hey, it's Puddles. Hey, Lonnie. We got Golden Belmont. I think that's a new one. Welcome. And hi again, Chris. So good old Turbo. So yeah, we've got the brand new event, which is completely different from the way beta players used to get the Stones. And we've got Aladdin, which I believe they've now kind of switched over to their new format of how most of the events will run. And then we had Scar's Lair come back. So Lion King is also back, but that is still in the collect tokens and open chess mode. So literally three different events there. How are you enjoying those, lad?
Um, well, originally I was disappointed with the Aladdin one, just simply because I'd seen it a bunch of times, and for me it was done. And the way the Aladdin one is set up is you do the level once, and that's it. But then a couple days later, they brought the Lion King one out, which is great because I still have some stuff to do on that one. So it's still something for me to do daily. And then out of the blue, it was the Stones one that came out, which that is the actual levels are similar to what we had in beta, but the way you go about upgrading the stones and where and how you get those upgrade materials has completely changed. So for that, it's new and fresh, and I'm really enjoying that one. And it's fun. It's new levels to do. It's great.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. It was kind of the same with the Frozen event, with same format now that they've put the Aladdin one in as well, is that once you get past a certain amount of the level that you can complete, you can't repeat it and it's just kind of done. So if you've done it before and you got to a certain level and you either can't progress or you're just completely done, there's literally nothing else for you to do,
Yeah.
which again, I think when we were talking about the Frozen event, we kind of bemoaned the fact that it's not that engaging. Although obviously for all the new players, they're still gonna be working through it. Hey, Dalinar,
I think
superstar Dalinar in the house.
I think the big thing with the Frozen event is the event itself wasn't doing the Elsa levels. The event itself was farming the four characters so that you could do
Pretty
the
much,
Elsa
yeah.
levels, right? And that's what really kept me occupied for the 10, 11 days it was going on, was farming those characters. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
the Aladdin one though is, yeah, it's different because they've all been farmable for a while, and this is a rerun of a rerun of a rerun for beta players. Uh, you do it once, you get your Jafar tokens, and that's it.
Yeah,
That is
pretty
it.
much. I mean, that's all I'm really doing. I haven't had a chance because I've been busy this week. I haven't even
Huh.
touched this stone thing, but I don't think I'm losing out too much, and
Yeah,
hopefully it'll
you
come
got to
back
get on
around.
that. You got to get on that today
I
before it
will, yeah.
disappears in a couple hours.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that right after the show. I'm gonna sit down with it and try and figure that out. And also, I didn't even have that many wilds, and I know we've been discussing in almost every show why I
You
don't
can
have a Mordu,
you
but
can do the first level while we're on the show if you want. We can take people through it.
yeah, we could do that. Let's see how we get on with
Sure.
talking about the main news of the week, though, which is well, it is the Stones, but say, oh, Dallin, straight in there with a question already. How would you guys change Frozen if you were to design the event, make it similar to Lion King style, I guess?
Oh,
Hmm.
Well, I don't know if I would change it because they have like 4 or 5 different event types, and if the events were all the same, it gets boring and repetitive. But to have like each one being different than the last one, it does keep things interesting. That said, I would run some sort of rerun at the same time as Frozen or Aladdin, and I think they learned that with Frozen, and that's why they ran Lion King with Aladdin at the same time. Because,
Yeah.
like we said, it's a one-time level. But if you have that rerun, at least it gives you something to do daily as well. It makes you feel like you're doing something special every day. That was the big problem with the Frozen one. It seems like log in, do your dailies, and then that's it, right?
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't laughing, Elon. I just caught in the comments, Zach M. is like, no more do. I came here to listen to experts. I think it's been very apparent that I'm not the expert in terms of having everything. I come to you from the more kind of free to play and more casual side because that there's all kinds of gaming levels. Not that I don't put a lot in, and I obviously learn a lot from all the Titans. But one of the things we did learn is that depending on your shard, you don't necessarily need a Mordu. And in mine, it was absolutely not necessary. Although tanks coming in and being more of a thing now, I'm obviously fixing that. So in terms of what we do with the Frozen event, I mean, obviously there's lots of other these kind of collector games. They make a bit more of a story out of it. They let you progress through something, and there's a little cutscene maybe, or at least just pan around the existing characters in the level and just put some text up there, just give you something.
Yeah, that is
I think
something
that might be fun.
that's kind of lacking in this game. Is there's no real story with any of the campaigns or any of the events. For some people, that turns them right off. Like I know there was one beta player who still plays Disney Heroes a lot more because there's story involved in everything you do. But conversely, there's people like me who start on the story and then quickly within a few days, I'm just like, click, 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 just skip this and get to the battle. So
Yeah.
for me, it kind of fits my niche a little bit better. But I do understand why having a story mode or at least story associated with the event would be really good for the overall experience.
Yeah, like Lenny's saying in the chat, that the Scar cutscene's always fun, and that's like the closest to that kind of thing. I mean, a lot of the time they pan through the level, which is really nice. But
Yeah,
at least Scar comes down, and it's a nice little animation. You got a little bit of that in Incredibles, but not really. There's only so many times you can watch Syndrome just kind of hover there and then just come down.
the
So
Scar cutscene was cool when they first ran it in beta because you couldn't auto the last battle where you had to fight Scar. So you got that every time. You had to fight the battle every time. That was a lot of fun.
hmm.
I mean,
Oh,
nowadays
don't,
you just hit
yeah,
auto all the time. So I'd like to have. I'd
yeah. I
like
mean,
the hardest level to be that where you have to beat it every time, even if you've got a full team and it's gotten to the point where it's not challenging anymore. At least you have to do the battle, right?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, not let you auto it, or I mean,
Mm-hmm.
not even auto it. I mean, you just you auto it from outside. You don't even go in and go through it.
Exactly.
So unless you
Exactly.
just wanna watch your characters destroy something, I'm gonna. Oh, I have noticed. When we said when they did this new update that whichever character you have to unlock comes up here in the first position, it literally just chooses whichever one you got the amount of tokens for first. Because I
Okay.
still haven't unlocked to my Mordu there. So for those of you like, no Mordu, like he's there, he's about to happen. I'm going to do that for obviously this Stones event. So speaking of the Stones event, then,
Yes.
um, yeah. So that's also kind of the main talking point for the week, and it's also a top. It's going to be a top five this week, guys, because obviously there's not 10 stones in general, and that's more of a just a general title theme. If it's going to be less than 10 things, it'll probably only ever be 5 or 10. I don't think we could have done a top seven, but that would have been a bit random. So, um,
It's not a round
we're,
number. It'd be weird.
yeah. So, as you can see here, these are the stones we're talking about, and that's going to be the top five this week. So, along with everything else, like if you've never seen them before or you haven't watched all the videos that the beta players made early on, I think SHD games. He's got quite a few good ones from back in the day when it was a bit different. But I didn't even know like which one did which. I literally had to kind of sit down and do a little homework there. And so this is a quick cheat sheet for everyone. So the green one is an emerald stone apparently, and that's the recovery stone.
Yes.
And then there's the ruby red, which is the offense stone, which kind of makes sense. And then rose quartz is the health stone. You got an amethyst, which is nice purple there, and that is the crit power. And then you got amber, which is all orange and is the crit chance. And then defense is blue, and the speed one is yellow. So that is how these stones break down. It's pretty much always been that way, right? There weren't
Yeah, it has.
any changes in that
No, they
sense.
didn't change that,
Yeah.
thankfully.
So there you go, and those are all the different stages of the stones that you get. So is there anything else you think we need to know about the stones in general, now that they've come into the game, that you want to drop some knowledge on everyone?
Yeah, upgrading them has become more difficult. In beta, the upgrade materials were generic, so you could use them for any stone you wished. Whereas now the upgrade material is specific to your type of stone, and you can only get them in very limited amounts unless you're whaling on the packs that are in the shop. So it could very, like, for people who want lots of speed stones, and speed stones are great. And I'm going to just tell you now that speed stones is almost never a bad choice. It's not necessarily the best choice for every character, but it's never a bad choice, save for maybe 2 or 3 particular characters. But what's going to hold you back isn't buying the stones from the exchange. It's going to be getting the upgrade materials from the trials when they come around. So just keep an eye on that. You're going to end up having to buy other stones because you're going to have all these upgrade materials and all these coins saved up.
Right. So yeah, I mean, kind of extending on a point you made there, it's these now add a new dimension to the game, and although you might have to focus on one or the other, at least there's a little more strategy involved now. And I think we in general were calling for some more synergies and more strategy and tactics. So it's definitely going to come into play as to which stones you farm, how you go about getting them, and which characters you actually put them on. So that's adding a nice new layer to the game there.
Definitely, definitely. It's a lot of fun. And it's fun playing around with them. I mean, the gold cost aside to moving them around, it's fun playing around with them and just getting your team to work a little bit differently. And then, so when you come up with a mirror match, it's not really a mirror match anymore, and there's differences that actually make an outcome in the battle.
Right. Yeah. It's unfortunate with a lot of these games that the way it goes, it seems to be like speed is king, but that wasn't so much the case. If you used a few good tactics and you could build teams before, even before Frozen, you could kind of get around the speed teams just by assembling either throwing more power at them or more
Mm-hmm.
offense and just kind of balancing it out that way. Um, so hopefully this will give you even more chance to use some of those other characters that you maybe instead of the ones that you have to have from the meta, maybe you can whack on a whole bunch of these offense stones and then taking a team you wouldn't have necessarily thought of. And it's going to be fun seeing the whole community theory craft on these teams.
Yes, definitely. And
Yeah.
so we got a question here from the chat of what kind of person is a recovery stone good for? Um,
Hmm.
so there's a couple answers in there. They're pretty good answers. Christoph and Sven definitely they do healing and they work great for them. Some other people that you might not consider right away, but that are really good for the recovery stone are Dr. Facilier, because it'll up the healing on his passive, which is good for anyone who's stuck in tower and just needs that little extra boost to get going. Um, and also for the people that are running Incredibles, putting it on Violet would actually be really good because it also affects the amount of shield that she produces.
Oh.
So keep that in mind.
Oh, okay.
Because Violet's not going to
So,
benefit from an attack stone already, right? And a lot of the other stones. So you have these recovery stones that are lying around now. She'd be good for one.
so yeah. So this is one of those statistics that I've never really understood exactly what it does, and I'm sure a lot of you guys out there don't either. So why don't you break that down? What does recovery as a stat actually do? What does it affect the most?
It affects how much healing and shields that the character does.
Okay, so if they're a healer, it basically just increases that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's literally not about just some kind of magic kind of revival, or they just get a second win and just kind of start healing themselves up during the match. It's literally
No,
has to be
yeah,
an ability that
yeah.
heals,
It's not a
and that.
regeneration. It's an ability that heals. And actually, one of the things that they did now that they didn't do before is if your character doesn't have a recovery stat because they don't heal, the system will not let you equip a green stone on them.
Oh, okay. So you can't just throw a recovery stone on anyone who isn't a
You,
healer.
you can't waste it on someone who will not get benefit from
Oh, you
it.
can't waste it. All right. Okay, that's good to know. So that may be a bit misleading, call it recovery. I mean, they could
Ah,
probably have called it healing, but
probably.
I mean, maybe they're trying to separate it from health. Maybe it's a little too close, and that would have been confusing too. So, okay, Lonnie is saying, what is the difference between crit power and crit chance stones?
Okay, so crit chance. Everyone has a base chance to deal a critical strike, and there's some passives and abilities that increase that. And your crit chance stone, the orange one, will give you a 2, 4, 6% boost to your chance to deal a critical strike. So if the character normally has 10%, and you put the basic one on them, they'll now have a 12% chance to do a critical strike. The crit power
Okay.
one, everyone normally, except for a few characters, when they do a critical hit, they do 50% extra damage, and the critical power stone will increase that extra damage that they do by 5, 10, or 15%. Now, so that one would be good with characters who give themselves guaranteed critical, or or if you're using like Duke Kaboom, for example, where you've got people with vulnerable, you'll hit extra hard with your critical strike on those if you're using that stone.
Nice. So yeah, the crit power is literally what it sounds like. It just increases the amount if you crit, and then the crit chance is obviously your proc percentage of that actually happening. And then if we
Exactly.
go back just a step there, Chris is asking, the number beside your recovery stat is the same number as what an ability heals for. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio of how much you're healing for.
I guess so. To be
Right.
honest, I haven't really looked into it very much because healers in general are pretty terrible, and I don't ever use them in
Yeah.
PvP.
Yeah, I'm actually starting to think because since this whole thing came in and foul play no longer strips a taunt, that Ariel might actually make it back into my rotation of my main five, just purely because she has an actual dispel. Trying to find ways to
And actually,
replace my dispel there.
if you're using a taunter, she could heal your taunter, which would make them last longer as well. So
Then there is that bonus
you
too.
get like a double
So
benefit from
yeah,
Ariel. Maybe I can play around with her
so
a
yeah,
bit.
so Yeah, I mean, based on like what I have in my roster and what I maxed out as my core five, then it might be advantageous for me to maybe go chasing after these health stones, just or the recovery as well, and then put them on put either or on aerial just to see if that actually makes the healing more viable as a secondary to also getting back a dispel. So that might be where my team is heading. So we got Justin. Hey, good evening too. Who else we got? Shoot Your Face. Okay. I
Hey,
think that's a
Shooty.
new one on me too. Oh, okay, not on Lud, so obviously well known to Lud and Chris. What's Chris saying? For example, oh yeah, they're saying they want to put offense on Genie. That might be quite smart with all the amounts of extra hits that he's getting. Do you do you think that goes over to his duplicates, or it would only work on main Genie?
It does go over to his duplicates, and the way his basic works, where every successive hit adds more damage, the offense stone, it's just an exponential growth on that one. And I have an offense
Mm.
stone on my Genie, and if you get 3 or 4 of them on the board, he just melts things. It's great. It's fun.
Yeah, I know. Lonnie's also saying Oceanics might be worthwhile because that might be the next event. I really hope not. It's just, I don't think anyone wants that, but
I'm
more than
ready.
likely, well, you would be, but yeah, for the majority of the player base, that's not
That would
the
hurt for
most
just about
enticing thing.
everybody. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so and mythicals as well. It's all these factions. So well, at least everything is encouraging, a good, diverse roster and building everything up. So and we were talking about that just before we start as well. Is it's like take your time, we'll get there. There's plenty of things to collect and do. You don't want to burn out and have nothing left to do. So okay, let's. Why don't we launch into this top five then? So out of all of those, we got a choice of seven. Then the number five one we're gonna go with is it's the Emerald. So it's the recovery, which we've already touched on. So why don't you expand a little more, Lud, on why that comes in at number five?
Um, for me, that one, it's a little bit of looking forward. Mead had said a little over a month ago that they're looking into healers and to make them more
Yeah.
viable, right? So
Mm.
like
Yeah, I caught that.
I wouldn't go out of my way right now to get a whole bunch of the emerald stones. But going forward, if they do actually balance healers like they said that they're intending to do, that one could actually make quite a difference, especially if you're doing 15% extra healing all the time. So that's why that one's my number five.
All right. So, and for all the other good reasons why the recovery stone is going to be good for healers. And then quickly, David says, are there any events that were run in beta that they haven't run yet? Um, Not that I
Ye-
can.
yes and no. They did two events early on in beta. Um, no, actually, there were. Sorry, there was actually a couple different things. There was in beta. There was a couple events where the event was getting character shards out of your arena pack every day, bonus character shards. They haven't done that yet since global launch. I'm not expecting them to do that. They didn't run them very often in beta, and the last one was in December. Beyond that, there was a Robin Hood event early on in the beta, about 6 weeks after
Hmm.
the beta started, and that one was a completely different event format than anything that we have seen since. And I really, really do not expect that one to come back, unfortunately.
What was it? Was it pretty much similar to the other events, just Robin Hood themed, or was there something different
No,
about it?
it was very different. So it was set up where it was over 2 weeks, and week two was a carbon copy of week one. And then so the first week, each of the first 4 days, the event battles had a different objective. So one of them was you had to beat a hopper and his grasshoppers who did something special. There was another one where there was an impenetrable wall, so your melee characters couldn't move and engage the other side. So you had to use range attackers over the wall to kill everyone. There was one day where you had an NPC pig on your team and you had to keep them alive. And
Oh,
then
right.
there was a fourth day. I don't remember what the fourth day was, but it was something completely different like that, right? And then the last 3 days of the week were all against Sheriff of Nottingham, who was like the boss, and you basically every battle you got currency for a special exchange where you could buy Robin Hood tokens, you could buy Trigger Tower tokens, Prince John taxes tokens, and then there was I think like gear and maybe energy or something that is going on over a year ago now. But it had a
Yeah,
special exchange and it was a lot of fun. And the battle was repeatable as many times as you wanted, and it used a different exchange currency every day to give you more attempts. It's actually really well done. It was a lot of fun, um, but it's completely different than anything we've seen in the
hmm.
last 14 months. So I think that
See,
that's gone, unfortunately.
yeah, it's a shame. I mean, that sounds engaging. That sounds like you won out an event so that there's progression and there's something to do and you kind of feel like you're earning it along the way.
I think if
So,
anyone wants
yeah,
to dig really, really deep in SHD's video library, he did videos on them. I think.
right. We might have to do that. We'll have to drag him on here sometime and see if we can So yeah, so obviously I don't really have any. I know what we usually do is we kind of fold in some trivia and some quizzes into the top 10. But there's not a lot of trivia about some cool little stones, and I don't think we have many jewelers or fans of that profession in the community that I'm aware of. If there are, sorry, I didn't go do that research. So what I'm gonna do instead is I found a couple of websites and Disney blogs and stuff like that that have some very cool quizzes on them. So as a first one, I guess what we can do is hit you with some Mickey Mouse quizzes here,
Oh
and
boy.
let yeah. So let's start off with a nice easy one then. So we'll go. Mickey Mouse made his debut in what animated short film?
Steamboat Willie, but I don't remember the year.
There you go. Yeah, so it was Steamboat Willie, and obviously that is in a character in the game, so that's game related. But just before he got released in that very early debut, what was originally? Does anyone know what originally a potential name for Mickey was? So
I think I've heard it
this is what.
before, but I don't remember it, and I'll probably recognize it as soon as I hear it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that is definitely thrown around in kind of uh, Disney circles and stuff. Even if you're not a major Disney fan, at some point you may have just heard it in some kind of article or something because Mickey Mouse. Close, David. Oswald was is a completely separate character, but there you go. Puddles got it. It was Mortimer. Um,
Mortimer.
so yeah, Oswald was the original character that Walt Disney created, and had it not been for the company he was working for, I think it was at the time a derivative of Fox. Um, they took Oswald character, and when Disney struck out on his own, he basically could not take him with it, so he had to create a second version. And the next closest thing he liked that was similar was a mouse, and he called it Mickey. So yeah, if that hadn't happened, we don't know if Oswald the rabbit would have been more popular than a mouse. But the famous Disney quote is, "It all started with a mouse," but not quite. It started with a rabbit, bunny, and then a mouse. But as we know it, Mickey Mouse. So let's go on then. So I'll do about 2 questions per thing because I think it's a 10 question quiz. So we'll move on from that. And at number 4, we have the sapphire stones, which are the defensive stones, which I don't think we've even touched on. So take it away, lad. Why is it at number 4?
The defense stone is really good for a couple key tanks that you have in the game, especially mid game on Simba. Like Simba is already a beast in mid game just because he can get up to 400% extra defense, right? And you add that on, and it's not just a 15% because all the bonuses are compounded. So it'd give you almost a
Hmm.
500% increase in his defense.
Ooh.
He just becomes a wall at that point, especially in conquest defense where you get like extra boost that stuff. Yeah. So um, basically just for tanks, for making your taunts last longer, keeping your DPS guys alive longer. That's a really good stone for that one.
Yeah, I mean, was it always a good stone, or is it now just because of the way the game is?
It was a good stone during beta, where you often would have back when it was 3-on-3, where you often have a tank in the front that had to be defeated before the front line could move into the back line.
Hmm.
So it was useful then. Ever since they made the change to 5-on-5 turn based, and you can like pick who you're targeting, it it become a lot less useful. I do see it from time to time in PvP, but they're normally not on elite teams in my tournament chart. It's usually on like secondary teams. I like people who
Right.
generally don't push to the top every day.
All right. So there we go. Defense at number 4, which now brings me to your next question, everybody. So, who was the first person to voice Mickey Mouse? I think we may have covered this in another
That I
version
have
of this
no
question.
idea.
So, and yeah, I think everyone was like congratulating Lonnie on her knowledge there. I'm pretty much just going to assume that Lonnie's going to get every single one of those. So, and it will probably zip by so fast in the chat I don't catch it. So, who was the first person to voice Mickey Mouse, and in that Steamboat Willie cartoon? So,
Yeah, see, they're guessing the same people I would have guessed as Walt Disney.
yeah, pretty much everyone's going to get that one. Walt Disney was the first person to voice Mickey Mouse, and in fact, he kind of on and offed it. He was the first, and then there were a few others throughout the early years of the productions of that. So I don't know if they were working in different studios or what, but they all just kind of took turns for a while there, coming in and out doing the voice of Mickey before they landed on a single voice actor. So speaking of speaking and his voice, what are the first words that Mickey Mouse says? Or said in his appearances. I guess it would have been in Steamboat Willie. Pretty sure it was. So, what were Mickey Mouse's first words?
I just know the whistling. I don't think
Very famous whistle.
I don't think I've ever actually seen the Steamboat Willie cartoon, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, we'll definitely
I've
have to
seen
do
like
that at
little
some point.
clips of it.
I'd say we do it on the show, but we would totally get taken down for Disney.
Yep.
Definitely gonna sue us for that
Yes,
one. We could
100%.
do a little. We'll do little clips of it, or just maybe do a Lud's reaction to it. Okay, we've only got one guess. Everyone's really stumped on this one. No one's even trying. So this is the delay in the chat again. But Movie Man went for "Hey folks," close, but no cigar. And then
Hot dogs.
I don't know if that's. Uh, There you go. I think there you go. That is it. That is literally Mickey Mouse's first words were is hot dog. So if you've ever watched versions of like the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse or a couple of other the live shows over the years where they sing that hot dog song, it kind of makes a little more sense as to why they're
Yeah, it
singing
does.
a supposedly random hot dog song. It is actually an homage to the very first words that Mickey Mouse uttered. So
That's
hot
cool.
dog. Yeah. Actually quite that song just for whatever reason it will just pop into my head at the most random times and just like okay. So, moving on to number 3. We are looking at the lovely rose quartz, which is the health stone. So, why is the health stone at number 3, Led?
Now, this one it's close to the defense stone, and Downer made a comment in just a few moments ago saying that the defense stone is better than the health stone. I don't agree, and for this reason. On your defense stone, you're going to add about 80 defense to a tank with that, right? So if you get hit 5 times before that tank gets taken down, you're soaking an extra about 400 damage. With the health stone, it gives 15%, like assuming you have a maximum one always, it gives you 15% more health. And on a max tank, you're looking at about 3,300 extra health from that. So if you're getting, you have to be hit 20 times before the defense stone soaks up more damage than the extra health you would have been getting from the health stone instead, if that makes any sense.
So the health stone counteracts the other stones.
Yeah, like it directly counteracts. No, it doesn't directly counteract. What it does is it just increases your health pool by a fairly large amount. Like you're talking 3,000 on a finished tank. So that's that's a pretty much more than a basic. There's like 2 basics for a lot of characters, or
Mm,
1 basic from Elastigirl just because she hits so hard. But
yeah.
if you're expecting a lot of little weenie attacks, then yeah, the defense stone is going to be better for you in the long run. Like the longer the battle goes, the more defense stone benefits you. But where we're at, in the current meta, it's 4, 5, 6 really strong attacks and just burst people down. You're actually going to get more benefit from that health stone than you are from the defense stone.
Yeah, excellent. So, I mean, it's going to depend on your character's stats, right? So it's one of those
Yeah,
things where you gotta kind of go away and do a little studying on the stats and figure out what's going
100%.
to
Yeah,
multiply better.
all these
Yeah,
stones are all based on percent increases on stats. So a slow character is going to benefit less from a speed stone than dash, and Yzma is going to benefit a lot less from an attack stone than say Zerg.
right. So, and also I love that it's possible subliminal thing that we were talking about hot dogs and then you said little weenie.
I'm sure I did.
And then Lonnie was yeah, and then Lonnie's popping in a little knowledge there, and like the rose quartz is also a healing stone in real life. Yeah, I think if you've ever been to a fancy spa or some nice kind of relaxing place, they have those little rose quartz candles burning away all the
There
time.
you go.
So that is, yeah, so nice calming healing effect there, as well as all the benefits as a sorcerer's stone.
Yeah,
Um,
David's asking
so
who would benefit
yeah.
from a health stone. So your high health tanks would benefit from it. So Mordu would benefit from it. He'd be good with the defense stone as well. Sully, Boogie Boogie, Mr. Ink would greatly benefit from that because he's going to auto taunt when one of the other Incredibles gets below half health. And then so
Hmm,
giving him that extra 3,000 damage you have to do before you take him down. That's
yeah.
going to be quite annoying for your opponent. Even Kristoff, because Kristoff gets a lot of defense ups, you could make the argument that a defense stone would be good for him. You could make an argument that a recovery stone would be good for him and his trolls. He's a little more um, flexible in that way. I was trying to think of another word, but only the French one was coming to me. Sorry. Versatile. Yeah, he's a little more versatile that way. Yeah. Yeah, basically your tanks are who you want giving your defense stones and your health stones to.
Awesome. Yeah, because I think slightly further up in the chat, he said, "Is it good for Sim? Oh, what's better for Simba's health? What's better for Simba, health or defense?" And then he put Mordu question mark. I'm like, I don't think Mordu is too good for Simba. I'm pretty sure you would crush him. So it just made me that made me laugh. And some other things. So yeah, I think Golden Bell made a good point. So probably out of all the tanks, the only one that really benefits more from a defense stone is probably Simba.
Yeah, he's surefire would
Yeah.
benefit from defense stone.
All right. Awesome.
Zach is
So,
asking if the value of defense versus health changes at higher gear tiers. It might. Honestly, I'd have to look at the numbers of health and defense at lower levels. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with them. I've been at level 60 for a while, and back when I was going up, the stat values on everything was completely different. They did a complete overhaul of the entire game mechanics in December.
yeah. I mean, it is entirely possible that some stones will benefit more, mid-range or
Yeah.
starting out or
So
something like that. So,
Zach, if you want, you can find me on Discord. Send me a PM and like screenshots of your characters if you want, and I'll gladly go through them with you.
awesome. Right. Okay, so let's try another one. So, another Mickey Mouse question then. What Uh, let's see. True or false? Mickey Mouse was the first animated character to receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Oh,
It's a nice easy one there.
sure. I'm gonna go true.
It's gonna go true. Let's throw it over to the chats and see what they think. Thought I'd throw a softball in here, make it real easy, but no one seems to want to respond to that one.
But it's one
Or is
that's
it just
almost too easy, so it sounds like a trick question. I actually hesitated. We're getting a lot of true answers though. Movie Man's going.
yeah.
He's being contrarian and going false, but I think it's true.
Well, yeah, the overwhelming majority is correct. It is true. And so we'll go on from a nice easy one to a slightly harder one. What was the first piece of Mickey Mouse merchandise?
I really hope it's the ears that they sell at Walt Disney World. I'm sure it's not,
Um,
but I hope it is.
that whenever that question comes up, that is one of like the main answers that people give are the Mickey Mouse ear hat.
It's got to be
Let's see,
like a plate or something or a spoon.
close. And there's about a 60-second lag. Okay, I'll give people a chance. I don't know why there's such a lag. I don't know what's going on tonight. So yeah. Yeah, the most popular answer is usually stuffed animal. That's also a very popular answer. Other popular answers tend to be some kind of wristwatch or a clock, or like you're saying, a plate, like cups and tumblers and stuff like that.
I had a Mickey
Those
Mouse
mini ears
wristwatch
was,
when I was a kid, where his arms were the
yeah,
arms. That was great. I
yeah,
love that.
that's the classic. I'm kind of trying to hunt down like a proper original one of those, but they're really hard to find these days. It's a nice piece of memorabilia to have. Wheels of cheese. Okay, okay. I think now that we got into the answers, no, in fact, the first piece of Mickey Mouse merchandise was actually just a tablet of paper, just a paper pad, which I guess would have been the easiest thing to manufacture. Is just slap on a little Mickey in a
Wow.
printing press rather than actually manufacture something. So that makes it the easiest and first piece of merchandise that Mickey Mouse was on. Okay, so if there's a delay, I'm going to click on to the next stone, which hopefully everyone will catch up on. And the number 2 spot goes to the ruby red stone, which is the offense stone. So here we go. Offense, why is it important?
Well, offense is what you need to take down your opponents, right? And the offense stone, because offense is so dominating over defense in this game, like it scales so much faster than defense. Giving yourself that extra 5, 10, or 15% gap actually makes a lot of difference and makes you hit a lot harder. So all your strong attack characters, Zerg, Dash would benefit from it. Um, Shan Yu, like all your big DPS, stick an offense stone on them and then just watch them hit really hard and take down the enemy health bars.
Nice. And I guess pretty much is that necessarily good for kind of AoE characters or just any offense character that hits hard?
Really, any of them. It is good for AoE ones, especially to help get around taunts. But
Yeah,
even like your
that's
single
definitely a thing
your
now.
single target ones like Zerg doing if he's doing like 8,000 damage with his Zerg vision. Actually, I think it's a little bit less than that, but adding on an extra 15%, that's a lot of extra damage that you're putting on for just that one attack, and then all the other attacks. So the offense stone is a go-to staple.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, basically, I mean, it's an attacking game that you got to take down the opposing team, so that's always going to be a good bet. Trying to think what, let's see. David was saying, when should you choose to give someone offense stone over a speed stone? Because I guess that's the other meta.
That is a great question. We can just go ahead and spoil number one for everyone now. Number one is going to be the speed stone. We'll talk about it a little more in a second. When would you choose offense stone over speed? So right now, before or as of like 2 days ago, before we had the sorcerer stones, our teams went in a certain order all the time based on what their speed was. And now that you have that little extra play with speed stones, you can manipulate that a little bit and you can set up certain things to happen. So Shen Yu, well, Shen Yu would be great with a speed stone. I actually have an offense stone on him so that I have a couple other people skip ahead of him so they can weaken a character down and then Shen Yu can take them out with his headbutt the first turn and then immediately get a second turn. So
Yeah, that I mean that's part of the tactics that come in with these stones is you can change turn order here, which is kind of important if you're trying to set up that perfect scenario like you're just describing.
Exactly. And then other things like Zerg is slow enough that even if you smack a speedstone on him, he's not going to go early on in the battle. So if you give him that offense stone, you're almost guaranteed to be able to take down someone with Zerg vision and then take down someone else with rapid. So you can get like a 2-for-1 on him on his first turn just by giving him an extra
Yeah,
damage boost. So
yeah, that makes sense.
basically, I would put them. I would put Speedstone like because it's going to be a while before we can all get 5 max Speedstones, right? It's gonna if everything we've seen from the first 2 days, no one's gotten a max stone from the trials yet. So this is going to take some months to build these up.
Yeah,
So speed
yeah,
stones on your debuffing characters and your buffing characters and those who are going to play around with the turn order. So you can get that done first and set up the turn order you want, and then attack stones on your big damage characters that follow that up so you can quickly knock some people out. That's when I would do the offense stones.
yeah. No, it sounds like you're gonna have to figure out a good balance and also figure out how to obtain them in the right order that's gonna benefit you the most, because it's definitely gonna change depending on who your opponents are as well in your shard. So this is kind of general overall good advice, but it's definitely gonna come down to tactics for who you're facing.
Yeah.
It's been someone put a I mean someone put a I lost who it was now, but said that maybe put it on Sven because of all the assists. So that might be a good idea. It's like
Mm-hmm.
any character that assists. I think that's like what we're alluding to with Genie. It's like okay, get some offense on them, and just because they go a lot, you're going to benefit more. Might not necessarily be the highest stat for damage, but if they're going over and over again, you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck by putting the offense stone on them. So that's a
Exactly.
good tactic to be going for there. And he also, I think down there was saying that a speed stone on Kristoff does not outspeed dash still. So, um,
No, but that has to do with more the mechanics of how they determine initial turn order. Because the way that it works is the fastest character in the battle starts with 100% turn meter, and then all the other ones have like a decreasing amount all the way down to whoever the slowest character is. So you have Dash with 100%, and then Kristoff, if he's in Frozen team with the Ana lead, he gets the boost that also pushes him to 100. So the system recognizes that there's 2 characters that go first in quotation marks and does a coin flip to determine which one actually goes first and which one goes immediately after. So even if you speedstone the heck out of Kristoff or you stack a speedstone on Dash, no matter what, in that scenario, they're both going to be equal at the start. Where it'll make a difference is on subsequent turns, on how fast the turns come back up around again.
yeah. So at least that gives people the opportunity when you come up against the same team in your tournament or something like that, you're not necessarily just going to get beat down every single time. There is some random element chance there, so that you might be able to use those tactics to get around a team,
Yeah,
which is nice.
and
Because
there's
I mean that's
they're discussing like high end speed turn order manipulation here on if you get someone to go faster than Dash, then Kristoff will get pushed past Dash so that Dash can get the benefit of his guaranteed crit. But
hmm,
the only thing you have to keep in mind at this point is what your opponent is also doing. And if your opponent has a speedstone on his dash or on his other characters that push you beyond, it can still if too many people get pushed ahead of your dash, it actually does put your dash in danger of getting knocked out pretty quickly before he gets to do his big moves. So just it's fun though because you get to play around with these things and then try a new in arena.
yeah, because
So
yeah, I mean, it works both ways as well, because if someone sets up their team wrong, that's when I can kind of get past those dashes, and I guess when it doesn't go in their favor, I can get to that dash and take him out before I get destroyed.
mm-hmm.
And then other times it feels like I didn't even take a turn and my team's gone. So um, yeah, that's one thing I've always liked about the game, even in the PVE content, is that RNG changes and turn meter that some of the bots start with is different every time, especially in things like towers. And it
Yeah,
just means you don't get locked out and stuck on a level or stuck on a tower, and you've got a chance.
I think
So
they did
that's
that.
one thing that's always
I
been
think
great.
they did that too, so that people didn't come up with a team that will consistently have the same turn order, so they can just always go, okay, I do this next, and then this next, and this next, and just be able to get through easily by just
Yeah.
trying different combinations to get the one that works. So having that randomized turn order on the enemies makes it so you can't do that. So you actually have to fight the battle, pay attention to who.
Yeah, it makes it feel like you have to play the match
Yeah,
rather than go, oh, I'm going in again with the same thing. I'm going to hit the same turn order and I'm going to hit the same moves and it's just going to be the same. Or you may as well just auto it. So,
right.
yeah, that's always been one of the major benefits and plus points
Hey,
to the game.
Cozy managed to make it.
Hey, who's the guest? His voice, beautiful voice. Hmm,
Thanks,
I know.
Cozy.
So, well, you know how to do it, man. Jump in if you can. But if not, thanks for popping by. Appreciate it. So yeah, I guess we kind of covered 1 and 2 all in there.
Yeah. So
Um,
just a last note on the Speedstone. Um, it's not always the best choice for every character, but it is never going to be a bad choice for any character except for maybe Mr. Incredible and Kristoff. Just in the sense that Kristoff, with his turn meter boost, he's going to be able to get an early taunt off regardless. And then you want his taunt to be kept up as long as possible, so you don't want it wearing out. And then same thing with Mr. Incredible. He's slow enough that a Speedstone isn't going to benefit getting his taunt off early. And then he's going to auto taunt as soon as one of your Incredibles is below half health. And same thing, you want his taunt lasting as long as possible so you can protect Dash, Jack Jack, and Elastigirl. So I wouldn't put a Speed Stone on him. I think he'd be better served with a Health Stone or a Defense Stone. Other than that, Speed Stone, never a bad idea.
awesome. So yeah, that unfortunately, as with most of these games, speed always seems to end up being the main meta. But I guess that's just how it goes. And next to Cozy, I think it was Chris who put in my head earlier the hot dog, hot diggity dog song. Now all I can think is it's like Cozy doing a sailing thing. I'm on a boat. So much better than the hot dog song. Let's see. So I'm gonna burn through the rest of these like Mickey Mouse quiz things, and let's see if Cozy can type fast enough out there on his boat. What is Mickey Mouse's official anniversary day?
Oh, that is, we celebrated it at some point in this game, and I don't remember when it was. Was it in May?
Not even
Mm.
close. Close in the sense that is a month in the year, and it has to roll around at some point. So,
Then my other
are
guess
you
is going
guys?
to be October something.
That's a lot closer.
Okay.
So, can you get the year? You should know the year because like the numbers on a lot of merch and stuff because they always tote it around because it just gets associated with Mickey.
Oh, way to put me on the spot. No.
Yeah, I'm trying to stretch it out as well to give the delay a chance to catch up. Um, oh wow, something that Lonnie is not 100% sure on. She put a question mark after her answer,
Wow.
and
We
I
finally
know.
stumped
Did we finally
Lonnie.
stump her? It's good because if this was gonna like run short or whatever, I had another one which was like the hard. It was labeled as the hardest quiz ever, but we'll
Achievement.
see.
No way. Achievement unlocked. Stumped Lonnie.
You have to get a graphic for that. So no one's actually said it, and no one's got the year either. The actual month, I'll give you the month. It is November, and there you go. David got it. It's the 1928. You see it on a ton of merch. There's always just a 28 on everything. Like I got a hockey jersey for the Mickey All Stars hockey team I
Oh,
used to play
nice.
for. And on the back of it, it was a Disney sponsored league, and it's got a giant 28 on the back of it. Like it's really confusing because like all of the players got 28 on the back. Yeah, so it's 1928, and it was November. So no one even managed to get November, And for some reason, it is the 18th. So it's
Yeah,
the 18th of November, 1928, and that is Mickey's official
yeah.
anniversary. David
David,
says, "Oh,
he Wiggs
David.
got it. Yep.
Oh,
Good job,
okay, he
Wiggs.
got it all. I missed that in the whole stream of the chat thing. And this they're getting slightly hard now. So does anyone know what the original name for Disneyland was going to be? Like Walt Disney had some alternate names that he was throwing around. Does anyone know what potentially his first theme park may have been called?
I'm gonna guess Fantasyland, and that they ended up changing it, but used Fantasyland for the one section of the good section.
Ooh,
Fight
we
me.
got Golden Belmont challenging the validity of just because
I think
we
it's more
stumped her for the first
jealousy.
time ever. Actually, I'm eating dinner, so I'm having things, but how cruel. I don't know what that's in reference to.
That's a reference to us
Um,
finally stumping her.
oh, right. Okay, I did know something else zoomed by in the chat as well. Let's see, Tomorrowland. No, everyone's just going for lands in Disneyland. Disneyland Park? Not. I don't cheat. I'm a huge Disney nerd. Okay, so the huge Disney nerd probably knows this, but she's eating, so we'll give her a break. The potential first name for his first theme park was Mickey Mouse Village. So it kind of almost is a land. There's that Mickey's Toontown in some of the Disneylands. And yeah, it was Mickey Mouse's village.
Disneyland's a much
And
better name, right, guys? I think everyone in the chat
yeah,
agrees with me.
yeah, I think it had been a smaller thing that never really took off, then that might have been quite cute for that kind of theme park. But yeah, the way it ended up, and
No,
really,
Golden Belmont, Neverland Ranch, or something else. We're not gonna go there.
so Neverland Ranch, that could be good too.
You know what that
I
is,
don't. I
right?
wonder if what Neverland Ranch, Michael Jackson thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that existed,
It
which everyone's
exists.
letting
But
you
yeah, we'll
know that's
just yeah,
kind of
we'll
like
just
Disneyland. Yeah, for sure. And let's go for another hard one to round these out. What are the names of Mickey Mouse's nephews?
I'm guessing not Huey, Dewey, and Louie. I don't.
No, they saved those for the ducks.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna throw this one to the chat. I'm sure Lonnie knows it. She's gonna
She's
enlighten
gonna
us all.
redeem herself here, or we're gonna like double up on the stumping.
That's throwing the gauntlet down. Ooh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, some of these were pretty hard. I mean, there were some easier ones that I just like missed out because there were things like, "What's the name of his dog?" I'm like, "Oh, come on!" Like with all the other questions in this quiz, like that's in there. But yeah, this one I kind of knew, and I kind of always remember. I'll give everyone a clue. I kind of always remember it because of what one of potential Mickey's names was that never got used, so they
Oh, I
kind of
see.
recycled it.
Wiggs
Yeah.
Wiggs got it again. He got.
Uh,
I think he got one of them by what you were saying.
Not quite. So it wasn't Mortimer, but they called him Morty, which I guess is a short for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
For
one of them
the
was Morty, and one of them was called Ferdy, which I need to do some further digging to find out exactly what that's a reference to. But it's Morty and Ferdy are Mickey Mouse's
wow.
nephews, and I'm sure he's had more over the years, but in the original kind of black and white era and stuff, those were his nephews. So yeah, that's the top five and the somewhat difficult Mickey Mouse quiz there. Um, so yeah, what
Yes.
else have
Yes.
we got
Tunnels.
going on?
Ferdy.
Ferdy, I believe it's Ferdie. Yeah. So as I said, I probably should have done a little more digging and figure that out, but I'm assuming it's a reference to something. Um, but yeah, if we go to some of the there weren't that many questions in the channel this week, but I know some people wanted to get some general tips now that it's nice and stable and all on setting up Club Conquest.
Oof. So that depends a lot on your strategy and on the opponents that you're facing. What I've seen a lot of clubs do is set up a strong but not strongest initial front line, and then go ahead and take them out. Or when you take like your first row after that, then you put your strong ones on after that. So you've got that your strongest wall farther out than your starting territory. Um, if just for overall conquest strategy, something that we used to do a lot in beta when we were playing is there's a 1 hour cooldown on when a tower can't be attacked anymore. And if you can time taking the adjacent tower when they're like about 50 to 55 minutes after you conquered that one tower, like you're looking on the screen right here, right? So say you start in red and you take B9. If you can time taking B10 and B4, actually you do it on 8 and then 9 and 4, right? So say you take B8 right away, and then 50 minutes later you take out B9 and B4, you've got that extra hour of the tower that you originally took can't be taken because you move out like the invincibility of the tower, so to speak. And we used to do that, and we used to just like chain not being able to be attacked back for a while. So that's a strategy that I think some clubs could really take advantage of if they were coordinated.
Nice. I think there's more comments about
Yes.
than questions in the channel there, but I think who was it? Chandler said giving away conquest strategy is like trying to lose. It's not necessarily. I mean, we can give you all the best information in the world. It just depends whether or not you can execute that,
there's
or
there's
you can
dozens.
coordinate a whole club.
Yeah, I mean, there's dozens of different strategies you could use. I saw one club in beta. What they would do is they wouldn't attack at all until they were ready, and they had 5 people on at the exact same time, and then they would just
Hmm.
like in the span of a minute take a tower from full to conquered, and just in like a surprise blitz attack. That's something else that you could play around with too. The only thing is with these, it does take a lot of coordination. So if you are a more casual club, it might be a little more difficult. But if you are like a very serious club and you're all on Discord, you guys can do that stuff.
Chris is saying, more importantly, which reward chest do you open?
Top right,
Top right, always top right?
always top right. Well, since they moved
Eh,
to since they moved to standardized prizes, always top right. Beforehand, the prizes used to be different. There was a
Oh,
lot
they're
of
not randomized anymore?
no, they're not randomized anymore. No, they're all the same for
Oh,
everyone in the
I used to
team.
enjoy that. All right, well, back when that mattered, and I guess I still do it if no one takes it, and because I'm never there first, is I will count and I'll take 13 or 14,
Well, there you
which
go.
is basically typically there's rows of 6, right? So it's always the third row, first or second one, if it's not already gone. That's why I have 2 options there. Mostly because one is my birthday and one is my wife's birthday, because we're
Oh,
literally our birthdays are literally one day after the next.
oh
So
wow, that's awesome.
yeah, yeah, and I don't know why that always stumps people. It's like, oh, that's so cute. It's like, yeah, I guess it's kind of coincidental. It's not as coincidental as like I know couples who have exactly the same birthday, but I think that would not be as
That'd be
fun.
weird. Yeah,
So
that'd just be weird.
yeah, so it's we just claim a birthday week and it solves everything. So
Awesome.
yeah, and then we've got John put a really cool thing in there. I might make a top 10 out of this rather than answer it right now. But he said, what are some great in-game pairs that would be awkward in canon, like Shan Yu and Sorcerer Mickey
There's
or Dash and Zerg? I think that would be a lot of fun to like. We'll maybe think about that and put together a whole list of those. So thanks for that, John. We will get around to that. Speaking of husband and wives. And then I think that was about it. And I'm looking for that one moving man said he dropped into the chat, but I didn't see it unless your name is different on Discord. But I am the walrus. Speculations on the next Stones event. My money is on mythicals, but some are saying they may throw a curveball and go. Oh, we kind of touched on this. Yeah, I guess it's just go diverse and have a little bit of everything. But
I'm expecting mythicals for the next one.
right.
However, I am not expecting speed stones to be included in the next one. I'm expecting defense stones to be in there, but I think they're going to keep the speed stones until last because that's the one that everyone wants. And I think they're going to keep Oceanic until last to give them maybe enough time to release some sort of Oceanic event character because it is right now there's like 5 that are there. 2 of them are pretty poor, and Davy Jones is really limited on how you can get him. A lot of people might not even have him unlocked yet.
Yeah, I mean, Oceanic seems to be everyone's least favorite. I don't know, what do you
Yeah.
call them? Factions or
Um,
teams or
Meathead called them Origins once on an official graphic that he
yeah,
sent out. So
that
I've
was it.
been kind of using Origins since then.
That
Um,
makes a lot of sense. Except I think we debated this before. Some of them don't quite fit an origin story if you go,
yeah,
but I guess in Disney terms, maybe. Let's see, Oceanic, yeah. So yeah, Davy Jones, like I said, it's not the most accessible. That's an exclusive. Oh, that's a thing. Speaking of exclusives, I did notice this week a certain character is no longer exclusive.
there's a
Um,
couple. Yeah,
yeah, the most noticeable is Mordu.
that's right.
He is no longer an exclusive. I noticed that obviously because when I went to the exchange, he's been booted down the line, and he doesn't have a tag anymore. So he's no, that's the premium. Even in the tournament exchange, he's all the way here on the right now. He doesn't even get to sit next to these guys. And Shan Yu is no longer either. They're no longer exclusive. So I'm not sure. I haven't come across Shan Yu, but I know Mordu is on one of the nodes now. So let's see, which node is he at? It's reasonably high up, but it's not completely all the way. Oh, I'll have to unlock him to go through that way. So I guess we can do that. Um, Live on the stream, here's the Mordu that everyone's been telling me to get forever. And now that defense and tanks is an actual thing, let's go ahead and hear him roar.
See,
Okay,
I,
so
I I hear a lot of people say that they can't do Oceanics yet because there's not enough characters and so on, but they're not intending people to do the last level right away. Um,
yeah,
I know a lot of original beta players that can't do the last level of the wild one, right? So it's clearly meant to be like a recurring thing and that you build towards it. Like Danny, for example, she only has 4 finished wild, so she can't do the last one. And she's been playing
yeah.
as long as I have. She's been playing forever. So I they could do an Oceanic one pretty soon. You could still do the first 2 levels only having 4 Oceanic characters and getting them to T5 while it's difficult. 4-star T5 is not outside the realm of possibility if you panic farm them a little bit. So I wouldn't put it past them to throw an Oceanics one at us in a couple weeks.
Yeah. But oh well, I mean that's I guess that's the way they get people to invest in Oceanics. I was gonna go look and try and find out
Mm-hmm.
where which node he's on, but I forgot he's maxed out, so I can't do that. So um, oh yeah, I think I don't know. Also randomly, I noticed a thing. Anna and Kristoff are the only 2 characters that are um, don't aren't exclusive to either hero or villain campaigns.
Yeah.
Because the pattern seems to be you get heroes on villains and villains on heroes, and obviously they put them on both. So that's another random thing. So if we're going with that theory, we should be able to find Shan Yu somewhere along this line. Let's see. So if Mordu is over here on 5B, Shan Yu's got to be higher up.
He's he's
Think,
on 4B. He's on
oh,
Heroes
he's on
4.
4B.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's lower than Mordu now. And Movie Man made a good point. He's not exclusive yet. He still costs 8,750 tokens. Where's my discount?
Wait.
4B. I just zoomed
He's
right past it.
on he's on Villains
Oh, he's
4B apparently.
Villains 4B. So he's breaking the mold as well. Are they just running out of places to put him, or are they just kind of forgotten that convention?
I think they just went away with the convention. Honestly.
Yeah, because that was so. There you go. There's your Anna. Well, this is villains, so this is going to be mostly heroes. So 4B, you say? I think I went the wrong way. There's Genie. Oh, there he is. So yeah, Shan Yu's in there in the mix with all the heroes. So I guess exclusives and Frozen characters get a special thing because they just get to go wherever they find space for them. I wonder who. Do you remember who used to be there? Who got booted or?
According to the patch notes, it used to be Korra, and
Oh, okay.
and Korra
Yeah.
got moved to a grand campaign.
Lonnie, plot twist. Shan Yu is a hero.
He was someone's
Explain that
hero.
one away, Lonnie. You can explain that. Well, yeah, to some. Um, all right, so there you go. So that yeah, there's a couple little things from the patch notes and stuff that I kind of noticed along the way. So Mordu no longer exclusive, Shan Yu no longer exclusive, but still expensive because I guess that's the in-game economy of how good they rate the character still, even if they're no longer exclusives. And I guess
Keep in mind too that when they made Jasmine and Genie farmable, it did take them a little while to drop their prices in the exchange. So I expect the same thing.
yeah.
I expect that they will drop prices to make them standard with the other ones, but it might take a month or so.
Okay, Chris has a question. I have a question. Was Cauldron on 2 elite nodes until recently, or am I going crazy?
Calhoun, she might have been. She might have got bumped off when the Frozen characters came out. Sorry, I had a momentary lapse there. I'm trying to find out. Can't seem to find it.
Patch notes, right? Would they be in the update here, or that would have been on Discord,
It doesn't say who was bumped for Sven and Kristoff and Anna.
News.
So I'm not sure. She might have been though.
No, just pass hold.
I think she was. Chris, actually.
Yeah, it's gonna be on Discord.
Yes, so Lonnie hit it on the head. This is something that I've been talking about for a while. We need a Wreck-It Ralph. We need it to come with a boost to Calhoun, give her a leadership, make her abilities a little bit better, and then use her to unlock Felix, Penelope, and Wreck-It Ralph. There's your event.
That would be amazing.
Right? Like
that is an event, yeah.
Make it even set it up like the Incredibles event. You just start with Calhoun and you go from there. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, that's got to be a good team though, and they've just released a really good team.
Who would you? Yeah, but they can release. They talked about releasing more synergy teams going forward, right? Starting at global launch. So I think that one would work well. You just need a fifth in there. You can grab maybe Shank from Ralph Breaks the Internet, or you could grab one of the other characters from the first movie if you wanted. Like, you got choices in there. So I think that would be really good.
So that would leave with Felix, Ralph, Penelope, and Calhoun, and then I don't know. You want to, because obviously they can't grab one of the random video game cameo characters. And
no, it has to be like a new character.
Yeah,
it
has to be one of theirs.
They could bring King Candy as one.
Oh, well, I'm staring straight at it. Turbo. They can have Turbo. It'd be a really cool villain character. Also, there you go, Turbo. I was gonna say the Sour Ball. I thought that would be hilarious.
Yes,
that would be amazing. I can't imagine I'm trying to think what the kit for that would be. That would be so funny.
He should be a spell that like debuffs the enemy team or something.
like, yeah, he should be a spell, but I think it would be amazing if he like to stick a debuff. The little graphic of the ball actually goes and sticks to the character and just doesn't come
That
off.
would be
That would
cool.
be so good. Yeah, and see, we still got Puddle's the same. We still got Big Hero 6.
That'll be coming at some point.
Like,
They've already got
because they're
Hero
already in
in the
game.
game.
I
Yeah.
mean, so because I know there's been
Hercules will come at
I've
some
caught
point.
Yeah, I mean that's just what's in the game right now. I mean, we still haven't had Lilo and Stitch is here. So, and like we were saying, there's so many things that need rounding out because I mean, you got the rest of Mulan you could bring in. That there's only two of them, um, and then pretty much all the new ones have it wrapped up.
Oh, they
We've
could
got at least
do,
five.
yeah, they could do a Mulan event and start.
Yeah,
You start off with Mulan. That'd be great. I'd love that.
yeah, and I can't remember I heard this as well, but Justin's also saying it Inside Out full team because that's just waiting to happen. It's just set up.
Yeah,
It's all there.
but they've got lots of
So,
potential for adding synergy
oh
teams.
yeah. So now it's just a case of giving community what it wants versus financial model versus programming, designing time,
Yeah,
all those things thrown in the mix. And, and then there's still Maleficent. So
I don't think we're going to
we could
see
do with it.
Maleficent for a long, unfortunately.
No, I mean, if it feels, I mean, you can see mine here. It says 75 out of 145, which kind of makes you feel like you're getting there, but at the same time, you're really not. So,
One
oh,
of
it's
my
Moana
favorite
as well.
one of my favorite things is watching people come onto the Discord and say, "Hi, I'm new to the game. Has anyone unlocked Maleficent yet? Because I got 30 tokens for her." Oh
If you've
no.
never, yeah, if you've never played any of these kind of games or this game specifically at all before, and you come to the game, you do get what seems to be like quite a few Maleficent shards quite quickly, and then you slowly realize that's not happening. To the point where I think we mentioned it in like the first show. It's like I kind of almost forgot that she was in the game because it's just such a back burner. Oh look, there's still Nightmare Before Christmas as well, and Pocahontas by herself. There's just so much, and there's just tons of stuff that they haven't even started to bring into the game yet. So um, I know the other thing I've been seeing on the discords and stuff forums lately is like questioning longevity of the game because the very famous Star Wars game is potentially imploding as we speak. Um, so
I
people's
don't think
minds
it's
are
gonna
on.
actually
No, I
implode.
I don't think so either. But that's obviously on people's minds. So everyone's looking for something to switch to or the next thing, and then obviously everyone's starting to question of like, well, then
Yeah.
how long is this game going to stick around? Yeah, these are the big IPs. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
There's obviously Marvel games and stuff. Even the Harry Potter game, which doesn't get a lot of coverage, that's just going to keep going as well. All the things with big franchises behind them are typically just going to keep running because those devs and companies paid a lot of money to get the license for these things, and they're going to keep them going as long as they can. So,
Bye,
Maleficent and
Lonnie.
Jedi
Thanks a
Rick.
lot for joining again.
Thanks, Lonnie. We'll see you on the next one.
Just want to comment on a couple of quick things here in the chat. Zach asked
Mhm.
if we need more gargoyles. We need a gargoyles
Oh yeah,
villains team. Forget about the heroes. I don't care about the heroes. I want a team of Demona, Macbeth, Puck, Xanatos, and Archmage. I want that to be my meta team. That would be amazing. I think it'd
that
just be a
would.
lot of fun. And then
And yeah.
Moving Man asked about Kingdom Hearts, and yeah,
Oh,
I'm really sorry. Kingdom Hearts, I'm pretty sure is a Square Enix property, and
yep.
unless they do some crossover event, which is possible down the line, but I don't think that's coming anytime soon, and that would take a lot of
However,
negotiation.
if you want that, that does exist as a mobile game, and that is like probably in my top three of something that I will probably start covering just as a fun stream, just because I love that series of games, and why not? I'm sure it's possibly been covered by other people, and it's been out a while. I don't know if it's still just in beta or not, but a Kingdom Hearts game, mobile game, does exist. If you want to go find that as well, so that would be pretty cool. but it's not coming into this game anytime soon. And while you were talking about the gargoyles, it kind of just, it reminded me of other Saturday morning cartoon kind of things. I finally, everyone always asks the questions like, what character do we want to see come into the game most? And because there's already one of them from there, uh, whether it's in Rescue Ranger form or just as Legends, Chip and Dale have to come to the game. So they've always been one of my favorites, and
That'd be cool.
that would just be, yeah. And then eventually, I guess no one ever says this because this obviously goes along with the Chip and Dale theme. Donald Duck. No one's ever said let's bring Donald Duck or Goofy or the big four. And no one ever says Minnie Mouse either. I'm like, where are those guys? We've only
Yeah,
got Mickey, so
yeah, we have Mickey
um,
and Pete, so the other ones could join.
yeah. So there should definitely be some of the other big four in the game as well. But like I said, there's just so much content. So
I want to see
and
Tigger.
hopefully, yeah, there's poo stuff. There's a poo spell. There's no poo characters, are there?
Yeah, no, there isn't, and that spell isn't actually in the game. That's never been available, fortunately.
No. Like you would assume that that's what they want. Maybe they ran into some kind of licensing issue with that. I mean,
There
it's
is
I'm
an
pretty.
issue with Winnie the Pooh not being allowed in China, so I don't know if that has something to do with it or not.
I wonder what the player base in China is.
I don't know. It's a
Yeah,
pretty big
that
market, though. They often have their own
yeah. I mean,
servers, though, for games, and not mixed
yeah.
in with everyone else. But for Galaxy of Heroes,
Good
they
to know.
did, and then there,
Yeah,
the Chinese game store is getting pulled from the Chinese game store. I heard over some like
yeah.
licensing issues or something. I don't know the details. I can't read the Chinese
Right.
script on it, but it's getting pulled, and people are upset about it.
Oh, I mean, the main reason Winnie the Pooh is kind of a non-thing in China. Is literally because people started using it as a derogatory image for the chairman, for the leader of China, and he disliked that, making fun of him, comparing him to Pooh. So unofficially, officially, that's kind of why they think they're cracking down so hard about no images of Winnie the Pooh in China, which I thought was hilarious. And then Dalinar was saying, who have you asked? Dalinar saying he's asked for Goofy a bunch of times. I guess he means Meathead or just in the forums. Donald and Goofy could be a crossover, Kingdom Hearts crossover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, we would love that, but I think if you get him, we're gonna get him in some kind of legend form, a bit like Mickey. They're gonna have a classic couple of costumes for them, but they're definitely not coming in Kingdom Hearts form. They might lean towards that in the model, but that might have to be changed if Square Enix get wind of that. So yeah, so I think we've pretty much covered this week, and we've got a lot of theory crafting there on new content to the game and new teams for the game, which we will definitely keep on covering for you, unless you got something else you want to throw in there, lad.
No, I think it's it. As always, I'm looking forward to this Wednesday's patch notes. It's always a surprise, and it always throws something different at us. So this week's was really good. I'm expecting a little bit less for next one, but it wouldn't surprise me if we get a second Sorcerer's Stone trial announced on Wednesday. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully Sorcerer's Trial thing is going to be something that keeps on happening. At the very least, it's going to give you something to build and do when there are other things and events that you can't actually do anything in. So hopefully they'll keep that pattern up of keeping some kind of side or alongside event that where you can actually do something along with the ones that don't actually allow you to do anything once you complete them. And obviously stones is going to be a nice chase for everyone to keep working on, which is what I'm about to go and do now. So I'll wrap it up there and say thanks to everyone. Thank you for your company this week, hanging out with us again, and we will see you next week.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
It's a pretty quiet after show this time. Oh,
It's
there's
only the
everyone.
two of us. So
No, I think the chat thing didn't actually come up for me. I had to go over to the actual YouTube window. Let's see. Saying bye to everyone. Thanks, my man. Awesome, Zach, Justin, Gideon, uh, obviously Superstar Dalinar. Uh, Lonnie's already out, and of course Puddles, Chris. Thanks all for coming by, and we will see you real soon.